All right, as we get started today, we're reviewing for your exam in the next lesson. Take just a couple moments to work on page 97, numbers 1 through 7. Not going to give you a lot of time to work, so we're working quickly on that. We'll go over the answers in just a couple minutes. So you're working in columns, so they show you that this percent becomes this decimal, becomes that fraction. So they take this percent, make it a decimal, then make it a fraction. Or take this fraction, make it a decimal, make it a percent. Finished. Question.
So if we have the percentage and base, we multiply those or divide those?
To get, do you have both sides of those? Yeah. So you would divide. Let me take the first one and put it over this. The part over the whole, basically, is your fraction. Michael's finished already? Good. Take about one more minute. I know most of you haven't had time to finish yet, but take another minute, get as far as you can, and then we'll go over all these answers together. All right, for sake of time, pencils down, even though you're not finished, all of you, with it yet. The first set of exercises, they just wanted you to take, if it was a fraction, make it a decimal and a percent. If it was a percent, make it a fraction decimal. If it was a decimal, make it a fraction and percent. Let's start here. I think the easiest thing to do here is to make it a decimal, class.
0.08.
0.08, you go boink, boink. It's also not hard to make a fraction if we remember the percent means hundredths. So 8% class is obviously 8 hundredths, though we can divide a 4 out to get
2/25.
2/25 for our reduced answer. So there's the two other answers for the second column. Obviously the first column was just an illustration. Here I think this is probably easiest to go to a percent because it's already hundredths, class. 231%, right? It's hundredths, percent means hundreds, 231 hundredths. And then boink boink gives you what, class?
2.31.
2.31. Look at here, 20.25. Well, boink boink gives you the percent, class.
25%.
But we memorized what it is as a fraction.
1.25.
1/4. Well, it already was 0.25. It's a fraction, it'd be 1/4. Look at the next one, 7/10. Think place value. What is that as a decimal, class?
77.
0.7. It's in the tenths place. Then boink boink, what percent?
70%.
70%. As an alternative, of course, you could multiply top and bottom by 10 to get 70 hundredths, 70%. How many got the other answers? These aren't necessarily in a particular order, but you got these other answers for each of those columns. Are there questions on decimal fraction percent relationships? All right, let's take a look at number 2. We're finding 21 is what percent of 168? Do I know both sides of the word of, class?
No.
No. If I did, I would just remember that of means multiply. But when you don't have those two numbers, if it's the other two, these two, those two, whatever, instead of multiplying, class, you have to divide. Which number goes on top?
21.
21. The part goes on top and the whole goes in the bottom.
168.
160. We call them percentage and base, but it's really the part and the whole. Now you could reduce this. Did anyone see what you can divide out of 21 and 168? Class?
7. 21.
21.
Huh? Yeah.
Do you see a 2 and a 1? If you divide it out, 21 gives 8. So if you divided a 21 from both of these and give you 1/8. Now, you could divide by 7 and then again by 3. You could divide by 3 and then again by 7. But you could actually divide a 21 out. The point is, you get to 1/8. What is 1/8 as a decimal, class?
0.125.
0.125. Go boink boink. What do we get?
12.5%.
12.5% for our answer. Looking at number 3. It says 288 is 120% of blank. Do I know both sides of the word of?
No.
No, I do not. So do I multiply?
No.
If I knew both sides, would I multiply?
Yes.
Absolutely, because of means multiply. But I don't got both sides, so class, I've got to divide. What goes on top?
288.
288. What goes on the bottom?
1.2.
1.2. You make it a decimal here, but I can't divide by a decimal. So class, what do I got to do?
Boink.
Boink. And at the top, I got to go
Boink.
So the top number actually becomes,
2,880.
and outside the division house, we have just a
12.
12. Again, there's the boink and the boink. We know our 12 times tables. Let's use the 12. 12 into 28.
2.
2 times, that's 24 to leave us with 4. Bring down the 8. 12 into 48.
4.
4 times evenly, right? But there's still a 0. Don't forget that.
0.
0. Now, let me be honest with you. Real easy mistake is to do all of this correctly and write 24 for the answer. And that's the one thing you get wrong on the whole test, and it keeps you off the wall of fame. Easy mistake, right? Think logically about your answer. 288 is 120%. That means a little bit bigger than, right? 100% would be all of it. 120% means it's a little bigger than what? What is 288 a little bigger than? Is it a little bigger than 24?
Yeah. No.
No, it's a little bigger than 240, right? So you can look at your answer and think logically about it and use that as a good way to check. Look at the next one. Number 4 says find 95% less than. Do I use 95%?
No.
No! Percent less than means I have to.
Subtract.
And what do I get when I subtract 95% from 100%?
5.
5%. We are only using 5% of 18. So 95% less than 18 means 5% of 18. Do I know both sides of the word of?
Yes.
Yes. So this time, class, I
Multiply.
18 times what?
0.05.
0.05. Remember, boink, boink. And when I multiply, I'm going to get 90, but I need 2 decimal places, right? 0.90, or just 0.9 if I'm too lazy to write the 0. Looking at the next one, 38% more than. Class, do I use 38%?
No.
No. What percent should I use?
138.
138%, right? Add the 38% to 100%. And so I'm going to multiply the 150 times 138%. Or in other words, class,
1.38.
1.38. If I wanted to, I could knock off the 0, make this a 15. Knock off the 0 with 1 decimal place, make this a 13.8. I find this easier. 5 times 8.
40.
Carry the 4, 5 times 3 plus 4.
19.
Carry the 1, 5 times 1 plus 1.
6.
Don't forget to put this one singular 0 here. Don't put more than 1 0, just put the 1 0. And then 1 times 8. 1 times 3. 1 times 1.
1.
Nothing plus nothing.
0.
That's 9 plus 8.
17.
Carry the 1, 1 plus 6 plus 3.
10.
Carry the 1, 1 plus 1.
2.
How many decimal places?
1.
Only 1 now. And my answer is 207. How many perfects so far, by the way? You're perfect so far. All right, questions so far. Let's take a look at a couple of word problems. Number 6, read that for us if you would, Bryson.
Taylor made 15 points in a basketball game on Friday and 24 points on Saturday. What is the percent of change if it is an increase or a decrease?
How do I find percent of change, Bryson?
And
Change over original. What's the change?
no,
9 points. What's the original?
15. No, 20. 15.
Which comes first, Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
How many points do you have on Friday?
He got 15.
15. So that's the original. All right, and I want to reduce that down. What can I divide out of 9/15 class?
3.
3 to get?
3/5.
3/5, careful. And as a decimal class, 3/5 is?
0.6.
But we're finding a percent, so I need to go boink boink class.
60%.
60%, and Bryson, was this an increase or a decrease?
Increase.
Increase, because he scored more points the second game than the first. Looking at number 7, read that for us if you would, Paige.
A $34 vase was on sale for 45% off. What is the discount and the sales price?
All right. Discount class is what I don't pay. Sale price is what I
Do
pay. How much do we get off? What does it say here, Paige? How much do we get off?
45%.
45% off. So I just got to find out what is the 45% of 34. What do I do, Paige?
Multiply.
Multiply what?
45.
Well, not 45, 45%, so make it 0.45. Multiply that by the 34. And this will tell me how much I get off. We multiply and we get $15.30 off. Class, that's the discount. That's how much I don't pay. How do I figure out, though, Ben, how much I do pay?
Divide it?
Ooh, no. You go to the store and they have a softball bat, and it's normally $100, and they say, guess what? You're going to be able to save $30 today if you buy this. It's like a $30 coupon. How much do you end up paying?
70.
How'd you get that?
The discount?
Yeah, how did you get that?
Somebody gave it to me.
No, you're missing the question here. How did you figure out it was 70 instead of 100? You have a $30 coupon. You, Paige?
Subtract.
Okay, there we go. You got to subtract. You're going to subtract what you save from what they wanted. They wanted how much for this? Back to Paige. They wanted how much for this vase? $34. But they're telling you you can save how much, Paige?
70.
Boom. But back to the word problem here. They said you could save how much?
$15.30.
$15.30. That gets subtracted. What they wanted minus what they're willing to let you save, what you don't pay. They want what you don't pay equals what you do pay. And I think you got this already. What did you get, Michael?
$18.70.
$18.70 is correct. Questions on these problems? All right, flip back to page 93. Flip back to page 93. Let's work through some questions together very quickly. I'll just answer these out loud. Number 1, what is the quantity that a percent is multiplied by to find the percentage? This is a really vague question. If you want to find percentage, you multiply percent times the base. Base is the answer. The way they worded it was kind of rough there, but yes, the quantity of percent is multiplied by. To find percentage, it's multiplied by the base. What's another name for the regular price of an item, class? The list price. The list price is the regular price. Now, you want a sale price. Number 3, what is a reduction of the list price of any item or service called?
Sales price.
Discount. But the reduction is called the discount. So number 4, what is the final cost of an item or service after a discount has been taken?
Sale price.
That's the sale price. Good. When finding percent of change, the amount of change is divided by over which amount? The original or the final?
Original.
Original. Change over original. Number 6, What operation is used to find the base if percent or percentage are given? Alright, what do you do if you want to find the base, class?
Change over original.
Wait, divide.
Divide. If you want to find the base, you divide percentage by percent. If you want to find the base, you divide. When determining the final sale price of an item or service, will the discount make the sale price higher or lower? Lower. That's the point of a sale. Now you laugh, but I was looking at some work the other day. It wasn't in this class, it was in another class. And the question was, this item normally costs $25, but it's on sale for X percent off. How much does it cost now? $400.
What?
That's not a very nice sale. Hey, regular $25, but it's on sale for only $400 today. No. Think about it. Think logically. There's a decimal error somewhere, right? Okay. I don't remember those are the exact numbers. Just kind of making numbers up. But yeah, do think about your answers. If you're finding a sale, it should be lower. What operation is used to find percentage if percent and base are given, class? That's multiplication because the percent and the base are on opposite sides of the word of. So that's when you'd multiply. Turn the page. To find a percent more than a certain amount, should the given percent be added to or subtracted from 100%? Added, because you're finding percent more, so we add. Number 10, if Jack had $22, but now has $34, would the percent of change be an increase or a decrease, class?
Increase.
It'd be an increase, very good. I want you to do numbers 12 to 30, the even. 12 to 30, the even. Remember, percent means hundredths. You found your bottle. It wasn't out on the field when I went out there later. I saw her glove. I looked for a bottle. I did not see the bottle.
It was like right outside.
Yeah, it was. All right, take your time, pencils down. Even if you're not finished with all of these yet, though these should have been a pretty quick, easy thing to do. If you want to make a percent a fraction, class, put it over 100. If you want to make it a fraction, put it over 100. So 64% means 64 over 100, but we need to reduce. Cut each number in half here. What do we get? 32 over 50. Hey, we can cut that in half again.
16/25.
Yeah, I can't cut it in half anymore. That's it. Okay, that's as far as we can go. 16/25 is our fraction. Number 14, to make a percent of decimal class, all we got to do is go
Boing,
boing, boing. So 14 gives us what for our answer, Corey? 0.04. Set up nice and straight. Number 16, be careful. What do we get, Luciana?
0.0042.
0.0042. Good. Number 18, what do we get, Jalen?
0.011.
0.011. For numbers 20 through 24, changing decimals to percents. Class, what do I got to do? Boing, boing, but the other way, remember. D2P. If I'm making the decimals into percents, I go that way. If I'm making percent to decimal, go that way. So reversing direction here, 0.587 becomes what percent, Griffin?
58.7%.
58.7%. What about number 22? What did you get, Sam? 2.81%. Then, of course, number 24, Kirsten? 7%. And then for numbers 26 and 28, it says to write each fraction as a percent. Well, the best way to do this is to get a denominator class of 100. But can you do that with 1/3?
No.
So I told you for something like 1/3 class, we just need to memorize it is 33.33%. Or you could think 0.3 repeating, which is 0.33333. Well, you get the idea. And there you get the 33.3 repeating percent. I would take either of these answers there. So you would do the same thing with 1/6 class. What is 1/6 as a decimal? 0.16. Okay, so forth. So you go boink, boink class. What do you get? 6 repeating percent, or 16 2/3%. If you had 2/3, well, that's not 0.3 repeating class. That's 0.6 repeating. So blah blah blah. Boink boink. 66.6 repeating percent. And I think the last one we needed to know is 5/6. What is that as a decimal class? 0.83 repeating, or 3333. Blah blah blah. Boink boink class.
83.3 repeat.
83.3 repeating percent. 3/25 though. 3/25. No problem at all. I can multiply top and bottom by a 4 to get how many hundredths? 12 hundredths. So therefore, class, it must be 12%. What if it was something like 17/24? Can I get a denominator of 100 easily there?
No.
No. So here I would just have to do what? Divide. Which one goes in the house? 17 outside goes 24. Add some decimal places, divide it out. You have to get your percent that way. Number 30, changing a fractional percent to a decimal. We got to be oh so careful here. 481 3/4%. We all know, class, that 3/4 can just become 0.75. Do I drop the percent sign then?
No.
Not until I've done what?
Boink, boink.
Boink, boink. The boink, boink has got to happen before that percent sign can fall off. So that percent sign is still here until I go boink, boink. Now it falls off. How many had 4.8175 for your answer on 30? Questions on that? All right, next page. Page 95 now. Number 39. What do I need to do, class?
Multiply.
Because it says of. I have both sides of the of. Number 41, what do I need to do?
Multiply.
Multiply, because it has both sides of the word of. Number 43, what do I have to do, class? Multiply, because it says of. Right? I want you to see how, I don't know that we have time to do all of them. Let's just do 43, because if you can do 43, you could easily do 39 and 41 anyway. Let's just do 43 for sake of time. So make it a decimal and then boil. What is 1/8 as a decimal class?
0.125.
0.125, but this isn't 1/8, it's 1/8%. So it's 0.125%. And until I go, the percent doesn't fall off, what does this actually become when it's all said and done, class?
0.0015.
And that's what we've got to multiply by the 412. So we're looking at how many decimal places?
5.
5 decimal places in the answer, and we get a very, very small answer. What do we get, Michael?
0.51500.
0.51500. If you want to include the 2 zeros, you could just say 0.515 for the answer. Drop down to number 46. We just did a problem like this a moment ago. It says you get 22% off football game tickets that cost $398. It's an expensive ticket. That's a big game apparently. 22% off. What do I need to do, class? Multiply by what?
Subtract.
Well, they want the discount. Oh, sorry. Let's look at the directions. It says letter A, find the amount of discount, and B, find the final sale price. Since they want the discount, we have to go ahead and multiply by 0.22. And then when we find the discount, what do we do with it? Subtract it from the original price. At your seats, 246. Find out how much we save and how much we spend. But some of you were right. If we'd only wanted the final price, we could treat it like 22% less than, and we could subtract from 100%. They wanted the discount, so no go. Did we get the $87.56 off? So class, that's the discount. That's how much we save. That's how much we don't pay. Good, that's how much we save. That's how much we don't pay. So that means, class, we have to do what with this number? Subtract it from what?
398.
398. And we're going to have to, of course, add the 0.00 at your seats. Finish the problem if you haven't already. What's the sale price? And did we get the 310.44? Still pretty expensive, but not as bad as almost 400. It's just a little over 300. Dropping down to the next section where it says percent more than, percent less than. We already know we either add or subtract.
From 100.
Subtract from 100 or add to 100%. We already did those. Turn the page. Looking at the 56 to 59. Again, we don't have time to work these, but we just took the quiz over this. Look at 56 to 59. Do we have both sides of?
No.
No.
Look in your book. Look in your book at 56 to 59. Do they give us both sides of? No. So what do? Divide. Which number goes on top?
18.
The first one. The 18, the 3, the 120, the 72, whatever. The first number goes on top. What's going to go under it? The last number, the whole. So the part goes over the whole. Drop down to 64 to 67. 64 to 67. It tells you the percentage and the percent, and you're finding the base. Do I multiply or divide, class?
Divide.
Do I have both sides of the word of on 64 to 67? Then I don't multiply. I've got to divide. And what goes on top?
25.
That first number, the part, the percentage. And then under it, you've got to change the percent to a decimal. And we've got to move the decimal and all that jazz. But that's what we're doing there. 60 to 63, they had percent of change. What's that formula?
Change over
Change over original. Flip all the way to page 138 now. Flip all the way back to page 138 because this is an exam covering chapters 1 and 2. So it doesn't just cover chapter 2. It covers a little chapter 1 stuff as well. Look at problem number 8 at the very bottom of page 138. Page 138, the very last problem on the page, class. We're trying to add fractions. In order to add fractions, we've got to have a common denominator. So I've got 10 and 1/6. I have 4 and 2/3. What's the common denominator page? 6. So 10 and 1/6. I don't need to change the 6. But 4 and 2/3. Not 2/3. I need 6. What do I do to 2/3 to make it sixths, class?
Multiply.
Top and bottom by?
2.
2. So it's how many sixths?
4.
And now we can add 1/6 plus 4/6
5, 6.
and 10 plus 4.
14.
14. We got to be able to add fractions tomorrow. Do number 9. On the next page. Top of the next page. Number 9. By the way, if you like them vertical, you like them one on top of the other, totally fine. You can rewrite it that way. We're used to seeing it that way. We're on page 139. I said page 138 earlier, but we already did the problem at the bottom of the page I wanted to do. So now we're on page 139. Doing number 9.
Yep.
And what do we get for our answer, Elaine?
8 and 5 12.
8 and 5 12. So make the 1/3 4 12s and then add pretty easy. Number 10. I do not want to multiply 30 times 14. And I don't want to multiply 49 times 27. Class, instead of multiplying all those big numbers, I can cancel some stuff, right? I can cancel what out of 14 and 49?
7.
To get
7.
2 and 7. What can I cancel out of 30 and 27?
9 and 10.
I can cancel
10 and 9.
3 out to get 10 and 9. Ooh, can I cancel the 10 and the 2, class?
No.
Never numerators with each other. Numerator, denominator, yes. Never side by side. We multiply side by side. 10 times 2?
20.
And 7 times 9?
63.
63. But look at number 11. It says to do what?
Divide.
Do I ever really divide fractions, class?
No.
What do we do?
Multiply.
Multiply by their reciprocals. So this 22/8 is not being divided, class. It's going to be multiplied by what?
3/4.
3/4. Can I cancel anything?
Yes.
Barely, but I can. I can cancel a 2 out of the 4 and the 20, or the 8 and 22 for that matter. 4 and 22 to get?
11 and 2.
11 and 2. We multiply across 11 times 3.
33.
And 8 times 2. How many 16s are going to fit in a 33?
2.
Because what is 2 times 16? 32. So I can just fit 2 of them with how many left over? 1. And there's the 1/16. Look at number 12. Are you allowed to multiply those as written?
No.
Let me say that again. Are you allowed to multiply those as written, class?
No.
No, you have to change them to what? Improper fractions first. Do 12 at your seats. Did we get 20/3 and 9/2 as the 2 fractions? Did we cancel to get 10 and 1 and cancel to get 3 and 1, so we just got 30 for our answer? We feel good about problems like that on the exam tomorrow?
Yes.
Look at this one. Now, the number 13. What is 13, class?
Compound fraction.
Yeah.
A compound complex fraction. We keep doing it. Complex fraction. And really, what does that fraction bar in between the 2 fractions mean?
Division.
Divide. But do we really divide?
No.
We're gonna...
Multiply by the reciprocal.
So Ben, number 13, how should I rewrite that?
1/2 and 9/4.
1/2 times 9/4. Ooh, can I cancel the 2 and 4, class?
No.
You never cancel side by side, just multiply across to get
1 and
9/8, which becomes, Michael,
1/8.
1 and 1/8, always a step ahead there. Number 14, number 15, got to follow order of operations. Order of operations, class, start by simplifying parentheses, then take care of exponents, then multiply and divide, and then multiply and divide, remember, it's all one step, going that way. And then the last thing we do,
Add and subtract.
add and subtract. Do not add or subtract until everything else is done first. Do numbers 14 and 15 at your seats. Check your work, check your answers. Did we get 18 and 17 for 14 and 15? That's not confusing at all. All right, any questions on solving with order of operations? All right, let's take a look at some of these other questions here. For number 16, what is the place of that underlined digit, Sam? Sit nice and tall, Ben.
For 16?
For number 16, yeah, the very next problem.
The underlying place is, the million.
The millions place. So what's the value of that digit?
3 million.
3 million. Number 17, if we rounded that number to the tens place, what would we have, Kirsten?
The tenths place?
Not tenths, tens.
Tens. 330.
Well, without the and, you'd be correct. 330. What if we rounded to the tenths place? Luciana?
329.9.
329.9. What about the hundredths place? What would we have there, Corey? 329.88. How do we find the GCF, class?
Shares. What they
We see what common factors are shared, right? But first we have to do what with my numbers? Prime factor. Let's split up a 16. How might we split it up? 4 and 4. How do we split up in 4?
2 and 2.
And that other one must be 2 and 2 as well, right? How about 24? How do we split it up?
12 and 2.
12 and 2. How do we split a 12 up?
6 and 2.
6 and 2. How do we split a 6 up?
3 and 2.
3 and 2. All right? This has 4 2s. This has a 3 and 3 2s. What do they have in common, class? 3 2s, right? They each have 1, 2, 3 2s. Now this has a 4th, but they both have 3 2s. What's 2 times 2 times 2?
8.
So the GCF must be 8. But how do I find the LCM, class?
Find the winner.
Winners. These 3 2s, losers. These are winners. The 3 is a winner. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, that's 16, times 3,
48.
48. That must be your LCM. Look at number 19. Which of the following number classifications does the number 2 belong? Class, is it a counting number?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yo, mama, you better get here right now. 1, 2. It's one of the counting numbers. All right, is it a whole number?
Yes.
Yeah, all the counting numbers are whole numbers. Is it positive?
Yes.
Is it negative?
No.
No. Is it an integer?
Yes.
Yes. Integers include the negative whole numbers, which aren't technically whole numbers. Anyway, number 20. Which of the following number classifications does negative 4 belong? Is that a counting number, class?
No.
No. Mama not count with a negative 4. Is it a whole number?
No.
No, because whole numbers have to start at 0. Is it positive?
No.
Certainly not. Is it negative?
Yes.
Yes. Is it an integer?
Yes.
Yes, because integer means it doesn't have a fraction or decimal, and we hate fractions and decimals. Is 4 1/9 proper, improper, or mixed, class? It is a mixed number. Number 22. What is that as an improper fraction, Griffin?
35/6.
35/6. What is the fraction equivalent to 0.375, Jalen? 3/8. If there's 14 cars and 10 vans in a parking lot, what's the ratio of cars to vans? Paige?
14 to 10.
You're not wrong, but remember we always reduce. So let's reduce that down to say
7/5.
7/5 or 7/5 or 7/5. There we go. Michael, you've got to be yours. If Michael has a collection of 18 pens and 12 pencils, what's the ratio of pencils to pens?
2/3.
2 to 3. 12 to 18. You say, I thought it was 18 to 12. They were sneaky. Do you see what they did? Pencils to pens. 12 to 18 does reduce to 2 to 3. Whew. That was a whirlwind. That's your exam tomorrow. Chapter 1, Chapter 2. You're finally in a word problem. There we go. All right. There is no written homework tonight. Okay? I will say this. If you felt like I moved awfully fast in this review, you're not wrong. What can you do tonight to help yourself study? You could rewatch this, and you could pause it whenever you needed to give yourself more time to work. So if that's what you feel you need to do, take advantage of the fact that this class happens to be on YouTube. All right? But there is no written homework. Exam tomorrow in over chapters 1 and 2. Get some rest tonight. You are dismissed.